What is going on, collectors? Optical 20 back for another video. Today we're gonna review an old one. You know how I got this. But I always get my figure at bigbadtoystore.com. I'll put the link down below. But hey, there was a buy one get one free. You gotta jump on it. I gotta jump on it, and this is one of the figures that was in there. So I decided I'm gonna get it. I always wanted to have a Tusken Raider. I'm not a huge Star Wars guy, as you know, but Star Wars is such a great lore that their figures are amazing, and it when combined with the main characters, they're just amazing. So let's unbox this Tusken Raider. I love Mandalorian. Started watching it again when I had Disney Plus. I had like a 3-month trial for Disney Plus, so I decided, you know what, let me run through it again. Especially I'm getting the Dark Trooper. You know, I want to see that all over again, and you know, all that stuff. And it never gets old. At least the first 2 seasons, right? I'm gonna watch Book of Boba next. That is next on the agenda. I know a lot of people didn't like that, and Kenobi, but my kids love it. So hey, you know what? I gotta get into it. But let's unbox this guy right here. Again, this is an older one. You can get this for cheap nowadays. Whether it's on BSDs and, you know, Sideshow, whatever, Big Bad. I'm pretty sure it's out there. But again, it probably wouldn't be nice to buy it by itself. You need to have Star Wars figures to accompany this. It's similar to the Dark Trooper. You need to have at least a Mando. You know, Moff Gideon would be nice. Luke Skywalker. With Tusken Raider, because he kind of cross over timelines. Yeah, I wouldn't say timelines, but segments of Star Wars that you could have a Tusken when you're OT, prequel, Mando. So as long as you have one of the main characters, for example, if you got Luke, you can get Tusken. But the one that I would say matches with him the most is either Boba or, at least for me, Mando, because that's kind of like where I'm at, where a majority of my collection is Mandalorian. So decided to get this. Would you like to army build this? You could, but as a photographer, I can just copy and paste this, you know, and you know, create an illusion that there's a lot. But for display purposes, I get it. You know, I totally get it. Let's take a closer look at the accessories. He got decent amount of hands, and he's missing some hands though, because on the previews, he does have like this open palm hands, which he doesn't. He got these hands that are one thumb is down. So he can't really hold the binoculars, you know? So, I mean, you kind of pinch it in, but you can see the hands right here. It's actually wrapped by those fabric. So it's not one of those, you know, so it looks seamless, because normally they would wrap the hands with, you know, plastic fabric, but it's not. And then you got that bowl of black soup. What is it normally? I think it's officially called a black melon. There you go, a black melon. And then you have his binoculars as well, that just, again, you can't hold it. You can kind of pinch it in, so he's pretending that he's holding it. Nice paint application here. I like the silver dry brushing in here as well. It does look weathered, and obviously when you let it go and scratch it by itself, it doesn't stand out because it's not super clean. Comes with 2 gaffy sticks, 2 different variations. I didn't know they come in different variations here. This one has some texture on the handle, and then the body itself looks pretty cool. This is made out of plastic, but it gives you that wood grain paint. And then this one does have some texture. I don't know what you call that ball at the end, but it looks pretty deadly. You know, it looks like when it hits you, it is gonna hurt. That spiky end, and this one right here as well. It does come with this textured grip. I'm assuming that's the grip part, and this is just to hurt you, mutilate you. And then he does have this rifle with a strap, and you can see the gun holding the rifle. I really like how they painted this. Like, it's like bronze slash, and then this combination of the handle is wooden, and then bronze on the barrel. It's nice. It's all plastic, but it gives you that illusion that some of them are wood and bronze. And then you got this, a strap that you could, put it on his body, so it gives you a different. I'm never gonna use that. So, but speaking of which, we'll talk about the materials of the clothing. The biggest, I guess, complaint back then was that it's too clean. In hand, it's not. Well, it's still cleaner than you wanted them to be, but are they really super dirty? Because you can see the dirt towards the end of his robe in here, or his skirt, I don't know what you call that. And then on the pouches, you can see some speckles of dirt. Unless it rained, and he got muddy. But he's in the sand, which is, it's pretty dry. So I guess you could just, could you dirty him up a little bit? Sure. But it's not a big deal for me. It's not a deal breaker, especially if you can get this guy for pretty cheap, just like I did. I'm not going to be worried about that. You could, like I said, if you really wanted to, dirty it up. That's totally up to you. For me, I'm happy with that. And I didn't know there were wires towards the side of his robe. So you could, theoretically pose it. It doesn't hold up. I wish it had some towards the end, maybe, or one in the middle, because two on the sides, you still are capable of doing some, wind sweep type of look, which is nice, but you'll have more control if there's another wire out there. But it's okay. It's not a deal breaker. And towards his arm, there's layers of clothing for this guy, and this is how you are supposed to, I guess, do the edges compared to the Nazgul of Lord of the Rings. But also the strap on his hands, like I mentioned earlier, on the hand, it is seamless. The boots is plastic. And let's take a look at his head sculpt here, which is nice. I really do like it. The bandages all over it looks really good. Like, you can almost feel the texture of the bandage of the fabric, but it's not. It is made out of plastic. Would it have been nice if it's really fabric? Sure, but I don't know. I guess as far as production wise, it's easier to produce it this way. But beautiful. You look at the texture in here. You can't even tell. This is way better than the burlap sack of Scarecrow from Batman Begins. But I get it. That was 10 years, maybe 15 years ago. That is an old figure. The new one seems to be an actual sack from the new Scarecrow. But if not, judging from how they finished this, even if they made it plastic, I think it's gonna look good. And I didn't know how creepy this guy looks, because I always just look him from afar. Now up close right here gives you nightmares. I mean, it's just, what is that mouth anyway? What's up with that? Articulation wise, this guy can look up, it could look down, you can move his head from side to side. No hindrance of movement there whatsoever. His arms, you could actually lift it up sideways pretty high. You can do that T motion. There is no restriction. I'll just put it this way. His outfit is very forgiving. On his shoulders, his elbows can bend way past 90. That is a pretty tight bend right here. Especially with Tusken, they want to raise their hands a lot. Bicep swivel. His legs are ratcheted, which is, I'm surprised. I didn't know why it has to be ratcheted. I don't know. One thing though is, look at that. That's one piece boot. Wish it was split cut design, or at least the boot itself is nicely. I wish it was nicely sculpted the same way as his headgear. Let's put it that way. Now the waist can move, pretty freely as well. He could bend his, he can crunch forward and back. I don't know why you would want to crunch him back, but you could a little bit if you really wanted to. Let's put him in some poses before we wrap this thing up. So here he is in the sand. So if you live in an area where it's kind of deserty, for example, Nevada or something like that, it would be nice to bring him. Hey, if you go to the beach, just don't make him wet. It looks nice as well there. So take some pictures and whatnot. So, here he is in his natural habitat in a desert. Looks pretty cool. Wind. And here he is in a battle mode. You know what? I gotta find some videos because you can post them however you want. I just don't know if he's actually formidable in battle like this. Let me know in the comments if he is. And here he is. He kind of just beat Mando on the ground there. But you can see the robe on his back. I was kind of playing around with it, like wind sweep or whatever. This one, look, you can see Mando is holding his feet because of the lack of, he can stand alone. And here he is with Boba. And as you notice, he is interacting with other figures. And that is the beauty of Tusken Raider. It's because it complements other figures that you have in your collection if you already have one. But now, there's certain promotions here and there that maybe you can get him. And then if you don't even have a Boba, you can get that for free as well. So, hey, it's up to you, how you want to mix and match this. But it is right there. For final thoughts on this Tusken Raider, I think it's a great figure. Is it a perfect figure? Well, he isn't the main character. So if you buy him by himself, it's not going to be fun. But he is a complementary figure. You can see the hands on the back. If you have all those figures and you add him in your collection, I think you're going to have some fun. Your creativity would come out if you have, let's say, a Mando or a Boba or a Luke Skywalker or an Anakin. All those things are going to be fun if you do have those guys. But if you're going to buy him by himself, obviously it's not. You want to army build him? Go ahead. It's pretty cheap nowadays that you could buy a couple, I would say, to flank, I don't know, Boba. You could do that, or you can buy 2 more. You can have 3 of them. The possibilities are endless. You can change the orientation of his bandolier. You could do that as well. It's fun. And he goes with the OT. He goes with any Star Wars figure that you do have. They're that important or that relevant to every Star Wars movie that has been out. Decent amount of accessories, beautiful range of motion. The head sculpt is great. It's nothing that would stand out in your collection. It's not going to wow anyone, but it's a fun little figure to have, especially now that it's cheaper. But let me know in the comments down below, do you have this figure? How do you display them? How many do you have? I would love to hear your thoughts. And who do you display him with? Thank you for watching. Hopefully you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.